Behind the crowns, thrones, and swords of ancient kingdoms, there was a force deadlier than any army, the way a ruler thought. And behind the minds of many kings of the ancient world stood one name who never wore a crown: Aristotle. Aristotle understood something most philosophers of his time did not. Power moves the world, and the world must be led by reason, not desire. For him, philosophy could not stay inside discussion rooms. It had to enter palaces, shape laws, guide strategy, and form policy. When he educated Alexander, Aristotle did not merely teach literature or natural science. He injected something far more dangerous: the management of human beings. He taught how to read the character of nations, understand the culture of enemies, and detect the moral weaknesses of rivals. A king, Aristotle said, must not only master warfare, he must master people. He wrote about forms of government, justice, and state stability. He mapped power the way a surgeon maps the human body. A healthy state, he believed, was one built on balance. Too tyrannical and it collapses. Too free and it dissolves into chaos. A true ruler is the guardian of equilibrium. But this is the danger of political philosophy. When ideas enter power, they can become light or monsters. Aristotle knew his ideas would not only build empires, but could also justify conquest, and that is where his anxiety began. As his student conquered city after city, a question haunted him. Had philosophy guided the blade, or had it forgiven the blood? Ironically, Alexander is remembered not only as a conqueror, but as a strategic ruler. His policies, his tolerance for foreign cultures, and the way he governed conquered. Lands were not born from blood, but from small classrooms with Aristotle. History remembers his sword, but the world was moved by his mind. If the sword conquers cities, law conquers men. If armies seize territory, statutes rule thought. This was the weapon Aristotle understood best. Aristotle taught that kingdoms do not fall because they lose wars, but because their laws decay. The state to him was a living organism. When law is just, the nation is healthy. When law is crooked, collapse is only a matter of time. He studied the constitutions of dozens of Greek city-states. He compared oligarchy, democracy, tyranny, and monarchy the way a doctor compares diseases. He did not glorify any system. He dissected them all. For Aristotle, law must protect the common good, not the will of one man. A king may rule, but the law must stand higher than the throne. Without fair law, a ruler becomes a moving prison for his own people. He planted one principle in Alexander's mind: conquered lands must be cared for, not drained. Yet law is always tempted by power. When kings hold absolute authority, statutes become tools of excuse. Aristotle knew one small injustice could ignite rebellion, betrayal, and dynastic collapse. He warned his student, the smallest injustice today is tomorrow's revolution. A fact few realize: many kingdoms endured not because of their fleets, but because of laws forged from Aristotelian balance between power and justice. The fastest conquest is not by sword, but by psychology. Aristotle taught that every civilization has a soul. To rule them, a king must understand fear, pride, and hope. He trained Alexander to understand a people before sending soldiers. Greece demanded honor. Persia demanded symbols. Egypt demanded religion. Misreading culture creates permanent resistance. Alexander survived not by brutality, but because he treated conquered lands as human beings, not maps. War begins long before armies march. Aristotle taught diplomacy as warfare: alliances, treaties, symbolism. One mistake at the negotiating table can ignite 1,000 swords. Many battles are won before a single soldier moves. Every king falls not because of enemies, but because of himself. Aristotle warned against the greatest threat of power: ego. Power whispers immunity from law. Alexander was great because he listened, not because he believed himself untouchable. A king without thought is a crown tool. Aristotle taught kings to think, not to be controlled. Palaces fear intelligent rulers. True power is not admired, and it is thoughtful. Nations grow sick when leaders go blind. Aristotle taught the state as a living organism. A small disease can kill a nation. Rulers are the physicians of civilization. History is not written by sword, but by decisions. Aristotle installed strategic thinking. One flawed decision destroys a dynasty. Emperors fall, ideas endure. Every law has an architect. Aristotle's mind seeped into imperial policy. Bad ideas create broken states. Modern law stands on ancient thinking. Aristotle did not die. He lives in states, laws, and strategy. His name fades, his influence remains. He never ruled, yet the world runs on his ideas.